I think the US is like, when you start really thinking about this, there's a real fight here between the White House and big banking infrastructure in the US. Like when you got the White House calling out JP Morgan Chase with the Epstein files, that is pretty serious.
It's the White House, it's the banking system, and it's the Chinese and Russian participants. It's this big three-way battle.
Imagine that you are at JP. I just looked it up while we were chatting here. JP Morgan Chase are basically an American bank. They have 84 million customers. Then over here to the side, you've got this non-American entity called Tether that is acquiring 30 million new customers a quarter.
So
because they're a global...
Within 3 quarters.
Within 3 quarters, they have more customers than JP Morgan has acquired in its multi-generational history. This and the founders of it are converting all the profit that's coming from the US treasuries into a hard asset that JP Morgan was so, like, of all of them, Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan, was one of the most outspoken critics of Bitcoin.
Now he's being told to suck it.
Now he's being told, by shareholders, like, dude, we've got a competitor over here that didn't exist 10 years ago that is acquiring 30 million customers a month on a global basis and is not bound by anything. And they have 100 employees and they're stacking a hard asset, gold and Bitcoin.
That's the key you mentioned, right? Is global, right?
Global.
They're not restricted by a border called the United States of America, right?
And this is what's happening. You're seeing this battle between the Fed and the banks and the government. And the Fed and the banks, because JP Morgan was one of the guys that started the Fed, I think. I think he was involved in the creation of the Fed and all those guys. So you're seeing now this battle shift from the US government, the Treasury, and the Fed. And it's like the previous administration was kind of in bed with the Fed and the banks. And now this administration has
sent Bo Hines to Tether in El Salvador, of all places, to be the link, the strategic advisor between Tether and the US government. They're like this, like JD Vance, Bo Hines, all those guys. So all I just want to put this on the table for people to just notice. I have never seen such enormous disruption in the financial system than what we're seeing right now. And it's wild.
I think the overriding, you can ask, why is the Trump organization or the current administration, why are they doing this? Maybe to enrich themselves, maybe it's an axe to grind, but also their base is Main Street. And for the power to be consolidated away from the Fed and the rich back to Main Street, this is how it happens, right?
I just say to people, if you follow the money flows of the world converting their dollars to USDT, the USDT going to the US government, the interest going to private companies who are then buying Bitcoin and gold, like, put it together, people, and the Trump family themselves. Trump just bought another $500 million worth of Ethereum this week. Michael Saylor bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin when it dropped to 85,000. So all I'm saying, I don't want to stick on this too much longer, but I just wanted to put this on people's radars, because those numbers, 500 million customers with 30 million a quarter joining, when people say there's no future for crypto, I'm like, what world are you living on?
Because they don't know that information. They pull up the news.com article. Like, you pull up news.com right now, the first thing is, the worst month ever in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like that's what they look at. Then they see some article that was written by some columnist.
Forget about Bitcoin for a minute. The future is going to be run on stables, on blockchain rails and stablecoins. The question is going to be: is it going to be like a privately owned stablecoin, or is it going to be a central bank
USDT? And this is a good story. Bo Hines is working with Tether to run the rails for the US government issued stablecoin, but it's going to be run with Tether. This is what's interesting. And I just look at it as a Bitcoiner and I go, okay, the world's first going to learn to convert their trashy fiat currency to a digital currency, and they're going to transact and do this. But then they're going to go, okay, where's the store of value? How do I store my value? And there's really only going to be 2 places: gold and Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin's going to grow dramatically.
Bitcoin will grow dramatically. Like it's baked in the cake now. But I'm glad you mentioned gold and Bitcoin, because we need, like, as investors, we need to potentially be considering both, because you've got China, Russia, and that. And many believe that they're leading the race at the moment because they can manufacture, and he who can manufacture can keep the grid stable, can win a war. right? So they're pushing for this gold standard, and the US is kind of pushing for like a Bitcoin technology standard. And so really you want to own both, because we don't know which is going to win, because later the US government has 8,000 tons of gold. They can sabotage the gold market, and China and Russia can sabotage the Bitcoin market with quantum computing and things like that. So you really want to hedge your bets.